After 40 years in construction in 4 states, I've learned what it takes to get a raise in construction. If you want a raise, increase the number of problems you're solving for your boss. I will guarantee you that if you increase the range and the types and the complexity of the problems that you're solving for that individual, you're going to become more valuable to that individual and to that company. And if you make yourself more valuable to an individual or a company, it is only a matter of time before they're going to recognize that. And acting in their own self-interest, they're going to make sure you're making enough money that you don't want to go anywhere else.
So if you're focused on solving problems for your boss, which is the way to get a raise, the easiest way to solve problems for your boss is not to cause problems for your boss. Can you see that? That's so much easier to simply not cause one than to have to solve one. For instance, and maybe this is the easiest one, be honest with yourself for a second and think of the number of people that you historically have gotten along with on jobs and the number of people historically that you have not gotten along with on jobs. Because not getting along with people is a problem for employers. One of the biggest ways that a construction employee can cause a huge problem for a contractor employer is in the moments that they're interacting with the owner, if the owner shows up on the site, with a question. Maybe a harmless question or a pointed question or an irate question about a process or a material, and it's directed at you. And this person identifies you as a representative of your boss, okay? In that moment, you have a huge, huge impact on the problems that your boss is going to have to deal with. Choose your words carefully. Never say anything to an owner in anything but a pleasant tone of voice. Doesn't matter what your mood is like or what your day is like. Be pleasant. Second, never commit your boss to anything. If the person said, hey, you know, I really need that sidewalk to be moved over there about 3 feet. The conversation should be, you know, I don't know, but I'll check. What else can I help you with? In every interaction, look for a way to reduce the problems your boss may have to deal with. It's going to pay off eventually. I've seen top-notch employees, top-notch, smart, organized, innovative, ambitious, abuse a boss's truck and be sent down the road. That truck came in and it was so thrashed, it didn't matter what that employee was providing, because that employee had, with callous disregard, made this huge statement to the whole world is, you know what, I just don't care what I do to this rig. I just don't care. So, new job time. So in broad strokes, every day, every way, increase your value so that when the time comes that you enter into a new negotiation with your boss, and that's what asking for a raise is, it's negotiating a new contract. Negotiating new contracts cause problems all through our society. And so when you go to negotiate a raise, and trust me, the boss is never going to come to you to negotiate your raise. You're going to go to him or her or them with the responsibility to present a case for why you're solving more problems now than you used to. If you come to this negotiation with the intention of provoking a conflict or a confrontation or a win-lose kind of an arrangement, you'll lose. And maybe that's okay, because that introduces another point. There are some jobs in some places and in some employers where you will never get a raise. I don't care what you learn or how fast you run or how much good you do or how much ownership you take or how often you take the company truck home and wash it and wax it. And by the way, that's not brown-nosing. That's solving a problem, isn't it? And there are some places, and you may be in one of those right now, where it just doesn't matter. And you know what? It's time to leave that job. You've got skills. You know how to solve some problems. Go find somebody that will recognize that value and is willing to pay for it. So one of the elephants in the living room here in this conversation is that maybe, possibly, sometimes, the best way to get a raise is to work for yourself. Now, never lose track of the fact that that's a maybe, because working for yourself also includes risk of catastrophic failure. But you know what? As an employee, you're vulnerable to catastrophic failure overtaking your employer, aren't you? For many of you, and you probably are beginning to feel this already, you've acquired the job skills you need. Maybe you have the soft skills and the people skills and the organizational skills. Maybe you've got it going on and you see a niche or a way to apply the skill set that you've acquired on your own. Then you should do that. But you should do it with some wisdom, because it is not easy It's not always intuitive, and it's a wild ride. Let me tell you this. So I worked primarily on a payroll in Las Vegas and then moved back to Oregon, and partially because of the different economies and the different circumstances around economic cycles, I've never made as much money self-employed in Oregon as I was making on a payroll in Las Vegas. But I've had a completely different lifestyle going along with that, so I thought the trade-off has been probably worthwhile. As you are working as an employee, trying to increase your value to the person who signs your check, understand that is a priceless education for the day when you are the employer. You'll know what to look for. You'll begin to recognize a key employee when he comes in and he's young, or she is just starting out, or has been bounced around from a couple other jobs and is just looking for a foothold with somebody that will appreciate them. You'll recognize that person because you were him, you were her, and you'll be able to recognize value when it comes walking up to you and asks for a job. So here's the takeaway: never expect anybody to give you anything. Shun like a poison any sort of an entitlement mentality, and seek out every way that you can to add to the value that you bring to the workplace every day.